Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome in to a Friday edition of the JP Peterson Show. I don't think I can call it a football Friday. I think I'd be doing a complete and total injustice if I went and called it a football Friday. Unfortunately, it's not. Still got about 6 weeks to go until we get to training camp, but we do have Rays baseball going on, the best team in the majors. Frankly, it's not close. Another win yesterday, a sweep over the Twins. We're going to get into that today. We got a lot of good discussions, but first and foremost, there's no JP today, unfortunately. He is playing in the Mike Evans Charity Golf Tournament, so he is away, but that's a great cause that he's going to be out there. And look forward to seeing some of the photos and the videos that he's going to have from there, so should be a fun day for him, but we're going to have some fun here as well. And I do want to welcome in my co-host for today. Now, we've been easing him in a little bit this week. You might have heard him a few times. We're calling him New Nick. He's the intern, right?
Yep.
If you remember, I was Nicky Numbers. This is New Nick, is his name. Nick Porcelli. Go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody. Give the audience a little background on where you came from here.
Well, like you said, hi, I'm Nick Porcelli. To make it more confusing, like Nick over here, I also go to UCF, as you can probably tell by my hat. Back in May, I want to say, I reached out to JP. I knew who he was because, I'm from Tampa, huge Lightning fan. We always see him, doing the intermission reports. And I was just like, hey, you interested in having anyone who helps you? Like, at UCF, I help cover the athletics for a website called the Black and Gold Banneret. And, sports are kind of down in college over the summer, so I need someone else to do. Do you need help? He said yes. He came in, and here I am, and I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and we're excited to have you, and Nick's been taking kind of the reins on the social side of the show, but with JP out today, I thought this was a great opportunity for you to cut your teeth in here, and we'll talk some sports. Like I said, we're going to get into the Rays. We're going to have a discussion about the Bucks, and not really on the field. It's more of a topical discussion, and a lot of people have been talking about this, of who should be the next Ring of Honor inductee. Last year it was Bruce Arians. Who's it going to be this year? Could it be number 12? We're going to talk about that. We're going to throw some of the names out there who we think are deserving. Going to get into the Stanley Cup final from yesterday. The Panthers steal Game 3 to make it a 2-1 series. Thank goodness for that. We did not want to see a quick series there. We got the NBA Finals coming back, Game 4. And we're going to dive a little deeper as well into the whole Lionel Messi thing. We're going to, now that it's officially official, and that he has announced that he is going to enter Miami. That came from his mouth. We have that confirmed. We're going to dive into the impact and some of the crazy things that we've seen from that and how big this could be for American soccer in the future. But without further ado, we'll go with the Rays. Like I said yesterday, 4-2 win over the Twins yesterday. And, again, the Rays just do it completely different every single day. First 3 innings against Bailey Ober, who, by the way, a huge dude, as you saw, Nick. 6'9".
God.
6'9". It doesn't make any sense. He's throwing only like 90, 91 at 6'9". It really doesn't make much sense to me at all. But with they were doing a good job on the broadcast talking about it. With all the lean that he has, it really feels like it's almost like 96, 97 coming in as opposed to 90. And the Rays were pretty much fooled from that. But then, he had to wash his hands.
Yep.
He had to wash his hands after 3 innings where he had struck out, 6 guys in a row?
It was 6 in a row, yeah.
6 in a row, goes and washes his hands, comes back out, and completely has a meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
Completely has a meltdown. So, cheater? Are we calling him a cheater on a Friday?
If he's a cheater, he's a failed cheater because it did not work. To me, that was an example, and they kind of brought this up on the broadcast, but this is an example of, the whole phrase, it takes 1 swing of the bat. Well, in this case, it was 2, because it was literally 1 pitch, RBI triple by Luke Raley. Next pitch, 2-run home run to take the lead, and that's what won them the game. Because, he had gotten 2 people out at that time, so it looked like, he was just, mowing us down again. We didn't have a hit yet. We were being no-hit at that time. And then he just, and then just like that, suddenly we're in the lead, and I just remember my move from going from like, really, we're going to lose like this to, oh, okay, we can win this game. Let's go.
And that's what the Rays do. They're never out of it. And I know it was early at that moment in the fourth inning when this turned, but it just looked like one of those days where the offense was really going through it, and it was going to be a little bit of a struggle bus, right?
Right.
And they were going to have to pitch their way out of it, which the pitching, by the way, again, spectacular. During this 6-game winning streak, I believe they just allowed 8 runs. That's it. So the pitching has really stepped up through some injuries. But you mentioned it. It got going in the fourth inning with 2 outs, a rally. And it started with Luke Raley, who seems to always get the big hit every single time he's up there. And here it was, another triple for the 6'4", 235-pounder. This guy can scoot. Here it was.
Goes and stops, and it's shot up the right side. Back into the corner it goes. Arozarena's going to hit third. They're going to wave him around. He's going to score. The throw to the plate not in time. And all the way to third goes Raley. And the Rays have tied this game at 1.
And Luke Raley, we've been talking a lot about him lately. The impact that he's had, he's made it to where this team doesn't have to go out and get a left-handed big bopper anymore. Between him and Josh Lowe, they've gotten it covered, and he's starting to get a lot more playing time. And good to see him rip one down there on the line and get that run in to give the Rays a 1-0 lead. And then, Nick, you mentioned it. They followed it up. The very next pitch, that was this quick. In a span of 2 pitches, we went from 1-0 to a 3-1 lead for the Rays. This was Harold Ramirez right here, his 9th home run of the season.
Torrena. And here's Harold Ramirez driving one deep to center. Taylor back, and that one is gone. Home run. Harold Ramirez, and the Rays, with a sudden blast, have grabbed the lead.
9th home run of the season for Harold. That was .416 and 105.2 off the bat. He's been fantastic as well. And like so many of these guys, you talk about making a jump in your game. Harold Ramirez last year in over 400 bats, Nick, hit 6 home runs.
Wow.
Hit 6 home runs. He's just over 100, 150 at-bats around there right now, and he's already got 9. I mean, the impact that he has brought to this team, so much discussion if they were going to trade him because outside of being a nice little niche contact guy against lefties, there wasn't much he can offer. But here he is. He's hitting home runs off righties. He's doing his things against lefties. They're putting him in the middle of the order, and he's rewarding them. So good to see Harold Ramirez there. And then later in the game, Wander Franco, who came into this game with an 11-game hitting streak. We hadn't mentioned it much, and it's because he's a star. Frankly, he just continues to just do what we expect from him, and he's been on this 11-game hitting streak. And I believe it got snapped yesterday, but he did get on base. And we've been talking about a lot about the Rays' aggressiveness, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they're making teams make mistakes. And in that moment there, the game was 3-1, and I believe Raley was up at the plate at the time. And Franco just decides to go take off for third right there and forces the pitcher to make a throw to third, and it's a bad throw, and then he comes all the way home. So it's like a play that he's like kind of forcing the issue there. Right?
Yeah.
But he's so damn good, and he read it so well, it worked out for the Rays.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even if the guy had caught it, he clearly would have been safe. And honestly, I have to be honest, when a team makes an error like that, and I laugh. Like, it wasn't as funny as the Little League home run a couple days ago, but that was still pretty funny for me to watch. But, yeah, like you said, you just got to praise the aggressiveness. I mean, that was a big risk that they had to take there, but it paid off in a huge way. And, I mean, obviously, like, it wasn't the winning run, but watching the game, it made me feel a little more safe going in there with because I don't remember, did Minnesota score their second run before that, or was that after that?
That was after that. That made it 4-1, and then Minnesota got a run in the 8th inning on a home run off Colin Poche.
Okay, right, okay. But still, that having that extra, run when they eventually scored their second one, that made me feel a little more comfortable knowing that we had a over 1 lead.
Yeah, we got the insurance runs there. It's just the way they're doing it. It doesn't matter how the run comes in, as long as you get them. And the Rays have kind of taken on that philosophy. It's not just home runs. It's not just timely hitting. It's plays like that on the base paths that you don't really expect. But when you're an all-world player like Wander Franco, you can take chances.
Yeah.
You can take chances there. And then, again, the bullpen coming in and shutting it down. Poche gave up the home run, but I'm not going to say anything much about it. He's been great lately. And Jake Diekman, how about 11 outings for the Rays, has not allowed a run in 10 of them. Folks, he had an ERA over 8. He had an ERA over 8 when the Rays picked him up off of waivers. And once again, Kyle Snyder, masterclass. Jake Diekman, I told you the other day, he's had the best stuff of any Rays reliever this season, and it's showing right now for them. And then Jason Adam, again, another great outing for him. Locks it down. Seems like he's starting to get back going. Hopefully Fairbanks can get back and the bullpen can get solidified, because they've really kind of been shutting a lot of people up here with these last 3 series, the way they performed. So that was good to see.
Yeah, bullpen's starting to get a little more stronger over the past couple series, aren't they? Like not like they haven't made like a huge jump, but I'm starting to see improvements, which is making me as a fan feel a little more comfortable whenever we put them in.
Yeah, it is. And they've gotten some guys back. Sean Armstrong was a big one that they got back, and he's kind of one of those Swiss Army knife guys. You can use him in any role.
Right.
They brought up Luis Patino, right? And we haven't seen him yet, but he's probably going to get a cameo in this series at some point against the Rangers, which is a huge series coming up that we'll get to in a second. But I'm excited. I don't know if I should say excited is the word that I'll use for Luis Patino. He's really struggled when he's had chances, and he struggled in Durham, by the way, as well.
He did. Intrigued. I think that's the word you should
Yeah,
get.
intrigued is there you go.
Let's see where this goes.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
That's a good one.
With what I'm going to get out of Luis Patino. I'll put it that way, right?
Right.
Just because of the struggles that he's had in the big leagues and in AAA this season, but as a reliever, I've always thought this is his better role. So I definitely want to see it. I think the Rays could definitely use a guy. They don't have many guys who are throwing, 97, 98, 99, if anybody really right now, with Fairbanks sideline in that bullpen. So he's going to offer a different look. So we'll see what happens there. But regardless, it's good to see Jason Adams get back-to-back save chances where he looked like the Jason Adam of last year.
Right. And welcome back, Yanni Chirinos, by the way, getting called up.
Yes.
Through a little over 5 innings. He gave up the 1 home run. But other than that, he had a pretty solid outing for being brought back. And I'm a big fan of his, so I'm happy to see him back.
Yeah, I've been saying, I think Yanni is a really good kind of 5th option. I think he's not as dominant's not the word, because he was never a dominant guy, but he was a really, really good pitcher. I would say like a pretty good 3 that you could put in your rotation.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah, years ago, but then he's had some of the injuries, and I don't think he's as effective as that.
Right.
But in his current form right now, I think he's a good 5 option. I mean, the ERA, he's at 2.6 right now.
I think, yeah.
And, my eyes see it. He gives up hard contact. It's a thing. And eventually the analytics will tell you if you continue to give up that hard contact, your luck's going to run out.
Right.
And we're going to be due for a blow-up. Maybe that happens at some point. But for right now, for a guy like that to come from Durham and give you 5 2/3, almost make it through 6, kept the pitch count down, 65 pitches efficiently, 45 strikes on those. That's as good as you can get, I think, if you're Kevin Cash from Yanni Chirinos.
Oh, 100%. Honestly, I was not expecting him to throw that much. I thought they were going to kind of like do similar to what they did the previous day, where they kind of like, just kept changing it out after 2 innings or so. But, I mean, no, he went a lot longer than I was expected, and he did really well. So
yeah,
I'm happy for him.
All these guys are going a lot longer, it seems, lately, and I think that's what's helping the bullpen. Is these guys are starting to make it through 6. If you're in Zach Eflin's case, it seems like he makes it through 7 most nights, and he does a great job of helping the bullpen get rested up. They've had some days off as they go back into another stretch here of playing every day. So it's working really well. And by the way, as we transition to the series coming up against the Texas Rangers, who I believe they're, 40-21, 7-3 in their last 10. They're the second best team in baseball right now behind your Rays, who unbelievably are 46-19. Every time I look at that, it's absolutely insane, this run that they've been on. And I can't even call it a start. This is just who they are. Like, we're past a third through the season. Yeah. This is who they are. But the Rangers, what a season they have had. They hit, they pitch, they do all those things well. And the way it's setting up for the Rays, could you ask for anything better than Glasnow tonight, Taj Bradley tomorrow, and then on Sunday you get Shane McClanahan. Could it fall any better for the Rays? I mean, maybe you want to get Eflin there, probably.
Yeah, probably Eflin, but
considering what it is, that's as good as it's going to get, right?
That's really good. I mean, you have your ace. I am really interested to see how Glasnow does, because in my mind, actually, never mind, I take that back. He played against the Dodgers, but, this is, another real challenge for him. So
This is the best. This is the best lineup that he's going to face.
That is
in
yeah,
all respect.
Actually, yeah, that is
in
the
all
best
respect to the Dodgers, a very tough lineup. I think the Rangers, the way they're playing right now, I mean, the Rangers have the best lineup in baseball. They've actually surpassed the Rays, I think, in most offensive categories right now.
I think they have, like, and that would explain why, like, you know, I was scrolling through Instagram the other day. You know how, like, MLB always releases their power rankings?
Yeah.
They jumped the Rays. They're currently number 1.
Well, I'm gonna agree to disagree.
Yeah, no, I'm the
with,
same way. I'm like,
with that one.
I'm like, okay, so record, nothing. Okay, fine.
No, but they're really good. I mean, Marcus Semien is
No disrespect to them. They're extremely talented.
Yeah, when you look at, I think what's telling is, like, you know, I've been filling out my all-star ballots right now, trying to get the Rays who deserve to get it. And I'm not one of those guys. I said this. I don't spam all the Rays. You know, I'm not voting for Christian Bethancourt or whatever for catcher, whoever's on the ballot, right?
Wouldn't that be funny though if he got in?
Yeah, never gonna happen.
I know.
Never gonna happen.
I know it's not.
But
I'm just
I mean, I was saying it. Wander, I think, deserves to start. I think Randy probably deserves to start.
100%.
And I think Yandy by far. In fact, I should have led with Yandy because I think he's got the best chance of those 3 to start because he's been by far the best first baseman in the AL. But conversely, I was going to point out, I think there's 3 guys on Texas who are deserving to start, and that's Marcus Semien, who's been fantastic. He might be the best leadoff hitter in baseball right next to Yandy Diaz. Josh Young, this rookie, third base. I think he has the best numbers there. Jonah Heim, catcher. He's driven in, 40 – what is it here? 40 – I think it's like 45 runs or 46 runs Jonah Heim's is driven in this year. And if you remember, the Rays had him a few years back, and they traded him to the Rangers. And here, 46 driven in. I was right. 46 runs he's driven in, Jonah Heim, and he's been great. The Rays had him. They traded him, so good to see. And then also Nate Lowe, who the Rays also had, brother of Josh Lowe. So it's going to be the Lowe Brother Fest in this one. I'm sure the families are going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be a cool moment. If Josh Lowe gets on base and you have those guys, you know, kind of, you know, messing with each other there on first base. I think their mom, there was a story that I think Topkin wrote in the Times actually about this, that their mom is really looking forward to this and seeing them kind of have their moment there at first base. So that'll be cool. And then Adolis Garcia, who I think leads the AL in RBIs right now. I think he's worthy of starting in the All-Star game. So just like the Rays, this is a very, very well-rounded team, and I think the stiffest challenge so far for the Rays.
Right. Like, and I think for a lot of people, they're going to be excited because I mean, I have this opinion too. This is a potential playoff matchup we're looking at right here.
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially, hopefully. I don't know. The playoffs are such a crapshoot. You never know who can, but I'm hopeful. But I think it's going to be a very entertaining series. I'm really glad you brought up Nathaniel Lowe because I feel like not enough people is talking about that. It's a brother battle. Who wouldn't want to see that? And not to mention, Nathan had a really good season last year. He won a Silver Slugger last year, didn't he?
Yeah. He's really, really good. It's one of those. That's the one trade that I wish the Rays could almost get back.
Yeah.
But at the time there wasn't really a. They were riding it with Yandy, and G-Mon was there, so there wasn't really a full-time kind of availability. And in all fairness, Nate Lowe showed glimpses, but not to the extent of what he's done in Texas, right?
Right.
And Yandy Diaz is playing first base, so it's
it's like we're good, but that sucks. But also, man, can you imagine how confusing that'd be if we had Nathan Lowe, Josh Lowe, and Brandon Lau all on the same team?
I was just going to point that. Well, that we did at one point.
We did.
But I was just going to point that out in this series. If Brandon Lau was playing, which by the way, he's shut down for 2 to 3 weeks. Please get better, Brandon. I contrary to what some might think, because I've been pretty hard on him lately.
We're hard on you because we love you.
I do want Brandon Lau to succeed. I want the Rays to have a healthy Brandon Lau because I will agree when Brandon Lau is at his best, the Rays are a better baseball team, right? So I hope he gets better, but a 2 to 3 week shutdown, that's going to be great for him.
And his best is really good too. Like, I think that's
It is. I've never been disputing that. I've almost been disputing the fact that we're getting a decent amount of time away from when he was at his best.
No, I know that. Like, I know that.
And that's been my whole point about it, is how long can we wait around for him to get back at his best?
I think you and I are in the same way, that we're hoping that him getting some time to rehab will help him, get back to some of his old form. So,
well, I think it helps for a lot of guys. I mean, look at Toronto. Manoah is a great example. Alex Manoah, I think he led the AL in ERA last year. He finished third in Cy Young voting. He was an all-star, all in his first full season. And he comes back this year, and the ERA is ballooned to like 6.5. And the Blue Jays said, you know what? We can't do it anymore. Yep. And he didn't get sent to AAA. He didn't get sent to AA. He didn't get sent to Single A. He got sent to the Florida Complex League over here in Dunedin, which not too far away from where we are sitting at right now. Yeah. And because he's going to get state-of-the-art kind of resources that minor leagues would offer, and it's a chance for him to kind of reset this 2023, which has been horrid for him through 13 starts. And honestly, I'm surprised he made it through 13 starts to begin with before Toronto made this decision. But, you know, they're in a playoff battle. They're in the toughest division in baseball. Can't afford every 5 days to put a guy out there who clearly is just lost right now. But my whole point there is that's what this is for Brandon Lowe. This is a chance to reset his 2023 and get back on board and be a contributor for this team. So that'll be great. But I know I just went on a little tangent there, but all I meant to say there was I was hoping Brandon Lowe would be playing in this series, because I always love when, like, especially like the opposing announcers come in and they always get it wrong. Yeah. They always get it wrong. I remember when Brandon Lowe and Josh Lowe were on MLB Network Studios a month ago when they were up in New York. Oh, yeah. And I think DeRosa or someone, they made the mistake. Yeah. They made the mistake. They called Josh Lowe Josh Lowe. Right? Yeah. It's funny when it happens, but it is what it is.
I guarantee you their own teammates do that in the clubhouse sometimes by accident. Like, I guarantee you.
Maybe not by now.
Okay, yeah, fair. By now, nah. But, like, when Josh, like, first, like, got called up, I'm willing to bet that happened.
Yep.
Or at least for the new guys.
Well, let's hear from the manager yesterday, Kevin Cash, who I think has plenty of reason to be excited. And also, if you're looking ahead, the Rays, after they get done with Texas, they immediately go on a sprint to Oakland. So you want to talk about a chance. If they can get out here with 2 out of 3 with Texas, and then you get a 3-game road stand against the A's, we got a chance to put some more separation in the AL East. So great. Oh, yeah. To see. But here was Kevin Cash yesterday, again after the 4-2 victory over the Twins.
The offense up until the 4th inning, Hoover was dealing. I don't think you guys even had a base runner up until that point. What'd you like about just what the guys put together with Rayleigh to Harold?
Yeah, it took us a little while to get going. Ober, he's been using his changeup a lot lately. Looked like Rayleigh was mindful of it after Randy got on base with the big triple to knock Randy in. And then Harold, I think that was a breaking ball, but it was an off-speed pitch that he knocked out dead center. It just took a little while, but understand Ober's he's throwing a good ball game. He's a really good pitcher, but like the way that we kind of adjusted.
And then Wander Franco there too, stealing the base and then going home. That's the 22nd stolen base of the season for him, but what impressed you about that?
Well, I mean, he's fast. Sometimes he can outrun the third baseman getting to the bag. Looked like he kind of committed and just kept going. But I believe Rayleigh was at the plate at the time. That third baseman is pushed way over to the shortstop side, so it's a tough play, and it played in our favor.
Yanni Chirinos give you just what you needed tonight?
He did a nice job. I'm happy for Yanni. Threw strikes, executed pitches, got a couple more swings and misses than maybe the last time, so encouraged by his overall outing.
What did you see with Ober after the 3rd inning? Did you see the hand check before he went out for the 4th?
No, I thought he was in the bathroom. Yeah, I'm not. No.
So you guys didn't alert them to anything, maybe for
oh, no.
Okay.
No. I was of the assumption that he went to the bathroom and took a little while to get out.
Pretty much what you want to see from Yanni as far as more swing and miss, but still being as efficient as he was, getting deeper into a game. Yeah,
I mean, look, sometimes the swing and miss is not that easy to come by. I know I've said it a couple times. When you got an offense that's rolling and being aggressive and looking to do something early in the count. So you got to throw strikes with that and execute quality pitches early. I thought he definitely did that.
I mean this in the most complimentary way possible, but do you look at Yanni sometimes and wonder how he gets through 6 innings in a game? I mean, he's not overpowering.
Yeah.
He's not getting a lot of swing and misses.
It's a lot of late movement. I mean, he's really leaned hard on his slider lately, but generally speaking, when he's got the sinker going with that slider and then the occasional split, it's a lot for a hitter to process. He's got balls darting every which way, kind of at the bottom of the zone. What was encouraging today is he even took a couple pops against lefties with some four-seamers at the top. That is not something that he's really shown comfort with in the past, and I think he realizes that it might help him when he's turning the lineup over and over.
Rays manager Kevin Cash, after the 4-2 win over the Twins, a sweep of the Twins, and now 6 in a row, 46-19, best team in baseball, and the lead in the AL East continues to grow. It's at 6.5 right now. Baltimore did come back and win yesterday against the Brewers, so it stayed at 6.5, but I believe this is the largest it's been in some time because, again, this division is playing at a historic rate, unlike we've ever seen in MLB history right now.
Yeah, and are the Twins still in first place?
The Twins at 31-32, if you can believe it, and have lost 5 in a row, are still in first place. And that division continues to be a crapshoot every single year. Like, how many more years do I have to sit through Kansas City, Detroit, and the White Sox just being stuck in the mud? They can't get out of their own way. Those teams are just non-competitive. Cleveland's always going to be scrappy, right? And they more than not, they usually come out on top there. But even they're 29-33 right now. They haven't played their best baseball. The Twins have spent a lot of money recently to try to just solve those problems. They've had the pitching, but the hitting hasn't been there. Correa, who they gave the big money to, hasn't been great. Buxton's on the IL, of course. This happens every year with Byron Buxton. So, that division stinks.
Let that man just catch a break. How many times is he going to get injured?
You know, some guys just it's in their DNA. They just get injured a lot. I mean, we saw it with Kevin Kiermaier for years.
And then he brought up the White Sox. God, like, just remember all those years, like, how much how much they were tanking and they had this rebuild. Like, I remember, like, always hearing, oh, they got this promising farm system. They're so close to breaking out. What did that get them? 1 playoff appearance, or 2. I think 2020 is kind of.
Yeah, they got the COVID year, and then they got the following one. But there's something fundamentally wrong with the culture in that clubhouse. I'm so convinced. And to me, they haven't gotten the manager right. Tony La Russa was a joke of a hiring.
Yeah, I mean, look, the dude is a legend, but he's been out of the game for 10 years. The game has changed so much. He was the wrong hire
from the beginning, and I don't think they're as excited about Grifol right now either. So. Yeah, that division's got so many issues right now, so many issues. To the point, and this is my transition here, because I wanted to break down. We don't really dive much into outside of the Rays when it comes to baseball, though yesterday we hit Ellie De La Cruz hard, and for good reason. He's so fantastic to watch. But I just had to get in on this. The New York Mets. The New York Mets.
All Mets, baby.
This franchise is a joke. In all due respect, they're a joke. Their payroll. In fact, I should be correct. Let me go do the right thing and get you the exact number for the New York Mets payroll and what Steve Cohen is paying this 30-33 team that has lost 6 in a row and sits 4th in the NL East. Let me get the exact number here. 349 million. Let me say that again. 349 million. The Rays payroll, 54 million is the active payroll right now for the Rays. 349 million to be 30-33, to lose 6 games in a row. And by the way, it got worse. They've hit rock bottom against the Braves, bitter rival in the NL East. They're on the road. They had the lead 3 runs or more in all 3 games, and they lost all of them. And last night was hilarious. They had a 10-9 lead going into the 9th inning. David Robertson on the mound, 1 out. Just get through it, please. Put the agony away. Stop the bleeding. And he serves up a meatball to Orlando Arcia, who hits a home run. And then we come back the next inning, and Ozzie Albies goes yard and pimped it. And the Mets lose again. My goodness. These teams that spend all this money around the league. It's not just the Mets. It's the Padres, right? How much money are the Padres spending on that team? A lot of money.
Probably around the same amount.
How much money are the Cardinals spending on their last place team? Pretty good amount. How much are the Phillies spending on their 30-32 ball club? Pretty good amount. How much are the Angels paying just in 2 players? My goodness.
Free those guys. Just free Trout and Ohtani.
I mean, the Red Sox, for crying out loud, the 31-32 Red Sox, who I just have not been impressed with at all.
I'm okay with that. That one I'm okay with.
I mean, they're spending like $150 million on payroll, and I watch their team, and I'm going, where is this coming from? Oh, my goodness. If these teams could learn that you don't have to throw money at a lot of – and I mean, I'm looking at the Mets' payroll, by the way. They got – let me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They got 11 players who are making more money than anybody on the Rays. 11 players. 11. And the most expensive of them all, Justin Verlander, the ERA is approaching 5. He's 40. And the ERA is approaching 5. So I just had to bring that up, Nick. I'm sorry. I just couldn't.
No,
the Mets,
that was awesome.
The Mets, I just.
You could have gone harder. You could have gotten a lot harder.
I'm gonna ease off for now. I'm more gonna be disrespectful to the Yankees when they start going through it. Hopefully now that Judge is out.
Yeah,
I hope that happens.
Yeah, see, there you go. It's okay, Mets fans. The Yankees are not doing as good. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but the Mets. I mean, it's just the fact that they're spending $350 million on payroll, and this is what you get. So.
Look, if you really want to trigger a Mets fan, just tell them that they were the team that was going to call up Tim Tebow.
Oh, what a joke!
Yeah.
Right, you brought that up, and it's more. It just they are a joke of a franchise.
Yep.
They really are. When's the last time they won a World Series? What is it? 19? Are we going back to 1969 here?
I think it was remember the Bill
Miracle?
Buckner,
the 86 Mets.
Yeah,
That's
it was
right.
the Bill Buckner play.
The 86 Mets. So what are we?
And if you think about it,
like 40 years.
And that shouldn't have happened because remember the Red Sox were up a lot by that, and they just blew that lead.
Yeah.
If that play doesn't happen, they don't have anything to talk about since the Miracle Mets.
Yeah. So what if 30? My math. I'm trying to see if my UCF math can help me out here. Was it 37 years since the Mets have made won a World Series?
Yeah,
they're throwing money at these problems.
They made it like in 2015 where they lost to the Royals, but
what a shame.
Yeah.
What a shame. We'll keep rooting on our 46-19 Rays, who hope to make it 47-19 tonight. But let's take our first break here on the JP Peterson Show. Nick Geddes and new Nick Porcelli, filling in for JP, who's at the Mike Evans Community Golf Tournament, who, by the way, he just texted me. And it sounds like he might be joining us from remote for a little bit to show us a little bit of what's going on there. And maybe we'll get into sports talk with him as well. So stay tuned. We will be back in 3.
Guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa, and for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Big you once had. It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to a Friday edition of the JP Peterson Show. Geddes and intern Nick holding it down here for JP, who is out today. He's at the Mike Evans charity golf tournament. I'm not even sure. JP's joining us, by the way, right now. JP, I don't even know where you are right now, so go ahead and update me. Where are you coming to us from right now?
Be quiet. We're on the 6th hole right now. And David Kahn of Bespoken Company is about 170. Hold on. Looks like he's got driver. Oh, it's right at the pin. Look at this. Oh, into the water. Into the water. Into the water. All right, so 1986 U.S. Open champion Jane Geddes, your aunt, is about to run play-by-play on my shot, and I'm about to hit a hole-in-one. So here we go.
Goodness. All right, are we ready?
No pressure, JP.
JP Peterson on the tee, par 3, 172 yards. Not much wind to really consider here. He's got a 6-iron, 7-iron, sorry. 7-iron. Practice, 20th practice swing. Set up to the ball. 4, please. Send it just a hair, heading a little right.
Hey, who can get that?
A little short of the green. But it was a lovely swing. Lovely swing.
Well, that's half.
Okay, that's when the play-by-play person is lying. That was so ugly.
I was gonna say I saw your swings last time we played. They were not pretty most of the time. They were not pretty most of the time.
Well, we just played a hole where we had a short chip. Both the guys sculled it over the green, and the two ladies, literally hit the pin, both of them, and it didn't drop in. So we were definitely relying on the ladies here to pull us through. But I did talk to Mike, and he told us who the starting quarterback was going to be. So we got breaking news.
Well,
he said either Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield.
Oh.
So one of the two, but definitely No, but seriously, Mike, this is, I think, his 4th year doing the golf tournament. He's been doing a gala for a long time. David Kahn, who invited me from Bespoken Companies, is a big sponsor. And they've raised literally hundreds of thousands of dollars for their foundation, which helps a lot of women that have been domestically abused. And they really are doing great work. You know, Mike's foundation is one of the best in the area, and they raised tons of money through this and the gala. So that's my man, Mike Evans. It's funny, though, because he saw me. He's like, oh, thanks for coming out all the time to our tournaments. I'm like, no, Mike, I'm actually in the locker room asking you questions. That's how you know me.
You were incognito, though.
I was incognito, yes. But, yeah, all right, hold on. We have another one on the tee right here. This Crystal's got about 130 to the pin. I know this is great. It was riveting golf. Oh, that's right at it. That's going to pop right up onto the green. Very nice. Now Jane will take a shot. So what do you got? So we're going to get her on. I want you as we approach her, I want you to ask Jane her take on the PGA Tour's merger with the LIV, because it's obviously she's been a big part of the LPGA Council. Be quiet. Hold on. She better hit it on the green because nobody else did, and of course she did. Right at the pin. Oh my God, this is so good. She hit it to about 6 feet. Just outside the closest to the pin marker.
On TV, on radio.
Yes, you're on radio. Right. All right, so I'm going to handle this interview here, guys, real quick. So, Jane, give me your take on this whole merger thing, and if Jay Monahan was the LPGA commissioner, would the players have fired her by now?
Well, I think it's really interesting. I think there's more questions than there are answers. Clearly, everybody knows that. But one of the things that I find interesting is how sort of it all came down from a governance perspective and how they were able to make that decision and really create the deal without Rory as a part of the player board.
Right.
So how the players were not involved from a governance perspective, it's very different than the LPGA. The LPGA players would have had to have been a part of that decision. And so, that's the one little minor thing. But more from the player perspective, how the players are going to sort of, I think, how they received it. Not only did they feel like they were sort of in the dark and betrayed a bit, but, it sort of almost, flies in the face of, how the tour is run. So it's very interesting just from that perspective, and 100 other questions beyond that.
Right. So what we don't know are the details right now. And all we know is that Jay Monahan will be fired as soon as the players get their say. So we know that much, which was probably the right thing to do. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and make this birdie putt, and we'll be coming back on Monday, mandatory OTAs next week, and we're going to be out there and be able to give you guys a great perspective of what's going on with the Bucks and maybe chat with Mike a little bit later on. I hope to get an interview with him, and we'll bring that to you on Monday.
Well,
Sound good, boys?
Yeah, thank you for joining us from that little onside report there. But you never mentioned it, by the way. Where are you at right now? What golf course you at?
River Hills. We are at River Hills.
Oh, you're in my neck of the woods.
Yes.
Out there in Lithia.
Oh. Yeah, our teammates are just banging putts in from 40 feet, 30 feet. It's like crazy. We're like 17 under after 4. So
wow.
I think we're going to win this one.
Well, good.
I think we're going to win this one.
Well, good stuff. Hope you get an opportunity to talk to Mike, obviously, and give us a good report on Monday. Thank you for joining us again.
We'll do, and I'm about to make this birdie putt. We'll
Thanks,
let you know.
Dick. Good talking to you.
Thank you. See you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
See you.
Bye, guys.
Oh, that was good. That was good. See, JP, even when he's away, he makes an effort to always come on and give us a little sneak peek of what's going on there. And for those who aren't aware, that is my aunt, Jane Geddes. She's a two-time major women's champion in the LPGA, and very close with JP, obviously. And it sounds like she's helping that team. She's getting them going because we played golf about a month ago, the three of us, and I was crap, and JP was crap, and she was just playing like it was 30 years ago at the LPGA, right? She was just mopping us. So it sounds like she's doing a good job. They're over there in River Hills, which is near my neck of the woods over there in Lithia. So maybe I'll join them a little later when we get done with the show here. That'll be fun.
Crash the tournament?
Yeah, I'm going to crash the tournament. And, if I'm going to a tournament like that, I just want some swag. Just give me some swag. Give me like a T-shirt or a hat, or whatever you got to offer.
That's fair.
I'm not interested in the golf part, to be honest.
Yeah.
But good stuff there. And JP will be back on Monday, obviously. Mandatory OTAs are going to begin. So much speculation there, obviously, with what's going on with the quarterbacks. Is Devin White going to show up? Is he not going to show up? So many questions there to be answered. But, while we're on the topic of the Bucks, I did want to get this to today. This was more of a topical discussion, obviously, and I think it's a good one. And in Pewter Report, I think Bailey Adams wrote an article about this yesterday of who should be the next Ring of Honor inductee for the Buccaneers. And last year it was Bruce Arians, and I think there's a multitude of options they can go with here. And I agree with what Bailey Adams wrote in his article. I think Simeon Rice, it's long overdue. It is long overdue for Simeon Rice. In fact, I've been saying this before on this show. Not only do I feel that Simeon Rice should 100% be in the Ring of Honor, I think the guy should have been considered for the Hall of Fame. That's just me. For whatever reason, he's never really even gotten consideration. It seems like his career has kind of flown under the radar as time has passed, and that ship seems to have sailed.
He's a very underrated player. You don't really hear that many people talking about him, but when you look at his highlights, he was a great player.
Well, the numbers, to me, these things are all built on numbers, and he has 8 seasons, if I'm looking at this correctly, 8 seasons of double-digit sacks, including a year with 15, another with 15.5, 16.5 his career high coming in 99, and then a year of 14. It's to me, if you give, this is always my general rule for the Hall of Fame. I say this for baseball, and I think the same applies to football. If you give me 8 years, where you are playing at an elite rate, I'm talking best at your position or one of the best 3 in your position for 8 years, because I think that's a good prime. I think you are a Hall of Famer, or you should be absolutely considered for it. And Simeon, that prime right there was from age 22 to 31. So he got 9 consistent years out of Simeon Rice on that 2002 championship team. That was the year that he had 15 and a half sacks. The next year, he led the league in sacks and in forced fumbles. He was a 2-time All-Pro, if I'm not mistaken.
2-time All-Pro, 2 Pro Bowls.
Yeah, he had some Defensive Player of the Year votes as well. Probably should have been in more Pro Bowls, if we're being honest, but he played in an era with a lot of really good pass rushers, unfortunately. But again, he seems to be the guy that goes under the radar, especially on that 2002 Bucs team. And I say it all the time. If it wasn't for Simeon Rice being there, I don't think Warren Sapp has the impact that he does from a pass rushing standpoint that season, where Warren really had his best year. I think the two go kind of hand in hand. So I think it's long overdue for the Ring of Honor. But what was the name? You brought up some names to me when we were talking about this. So present your case here.
I actually have a list of players. Simeon is on there. Now, I'll start with a little throwback, maybe a name you don't recognize, but Hardy Nickerson. He was a 2-time All-Pro, made 5 Pro Bowls, a really solid guy before the Super Bowl era. I think he deserves to go in.
I thought Hardy's in, right?
Is he? Did I misread that? If I made that blunder in my first live appearance, I'm gonna.
Listen, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
There's always blunders.
Yeah.
There's always blunders, but I'm almost positive Hardy's in the Ring of Honor.
If you should be.
I'm almost positive.
Yeah, can you confirm that for me, please?
Let me see. Is Hardy not in? Wow. He's not in.
Boom. He should be in. I was right. He should be in. I mean, he had a great career for the Bucs. He should be in. Reason.
Why did I've gone to so many Bucs games, and I feel like I've always seen his name sitting on the stadium for some reason. Hardy Nickerson's not in the Ring of Honor.
He should be.
He absolutely should be. And I'm surprised he's another one because he came before Simeon. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, I did not realize that Hardy Nickerson was not. That's why when you said it, I'm like, oh, he's in the Ring of Honor, of course. Like, he was one of the first 25 years for the Bucs. He was one of the best players they ever had.
Well,
wow.
Yeah. Well,
okay, so Hardy Nickerson, keep going.
Okay. Vincent Jackson provided some good years on offense for us in the dark ages, i.e. before Tom Brady shows up and we win a Super Bowl. Mike Evans always credits him for helping him become a good receiver, being a good teammate. He was very active in the Tampa community, and made some Pro Bowls appearances. He was one of my favorites growing up.
Oh, I'm torn on that. And first and foremost, obviously, always thinking about Vincent Jackson with what happened to him.
Yeah,
obviously,
that's why I'm like on it. I'm like,
well, it's not that. It's taking that out of the equation. It was a short time he was here.
But he was
it was a very short time. It was 5 years. The last 2 were injuries. The first 3 years were really good, yes. But and here's my thing. It's like if Hardy Nickerson's not in the Ring of Honor, it's hard for me to go down the Vincent Jackson because Hardy Nickerson appeared in 5 Pro Bowls, 2 All-Pros, and he was a member of the all-1990s team, which the more I read about this, how the hell is Hardy Nickerson not in the Ring of Honor? This might be.
Hardy's on the top of my
I'm
list.
almost taking this back. This is almost more egregious than Simeon Rice, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, he had the tenure in Tampa Bay, 7 years spent there, played on some really good teams. Obviously, was a mentor to Derek Brooks, and all those things. That's. Yeah, I can't get on board with Vincent. I understand he had some great years, but I think he falls into the.
I have my list are guys who I think should be in the Ring of Honor someday.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with you. I don't know if Vincent should be in now. But Hardy and Simeon are top 2 choices. Although there's a third guy who I wouldn't mind going in right now, but we'll get to him later. Next on the list, Ali Marpet. made a Pro Bowl, was a constant member of the O-line. Big key to our Super Bowl win. He's still active with the Bucs, which is why I don't think he'd go in now, but I think he will go in one day.
Well, Paul Gruber's in the Hall of Fame, is in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But Paul Gruber also played 12 seasons with the Bucs at left tackle. Premium position, held the fort down. Now, he doesn't have the All-Pros or Pro Bowls or anything like that. And Allie played, 11 or 7 seasons?
But they were all with the Bucs.
They were all with the Bucs, obviously, just like Gruber. He has the Pro Bowl and he has the Super Bowl. I could see it at some point. I could see it. It's just, I like things to be – I typically like small Hall of Fames. I like small Ring of Honors, particularly. I don't like just passing out a bunch of guys. Like, if you were really good, because he to me was a really good player. I wouldn't classify him as a great player. So, Allie's probably another one. It's tough to get on board there, honestly.
I think he will one day.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm thinking more of like the guys who were at the top of the food chain when I thought about the Bucs. So like I don't know if Gerald McCoy is on your list there, and it seems like he's the most divisive.
Wow, spoiler! He was my last one actually.
Well, yeah, I think Gerald though is the most divisive figure, for whatever reason, for the Bucs. Actually, I say for whatever reason, but I know the reason because he came at the worst time to be the face of the franchise.
He was so good.
He was really, really good and great in some seasons. And unfortunately, he was going to always be compared to Warren Sapp.
Yeah.
And, Warren had that reputation for being nasty and mean and, giving F about the opponent.
Yeah.
And,
Gerald
was helping quarterbacks up after he sacked him.
He was such a,
he was a nice guy.
You remember that? And he was also just funny. Like, remember that Hard Knocks clip where, they just, changed, the celebration rules and he, kind of, goes up to the ref and he's just like,
yeah,
we're going to test the face here. Is this too much?
Gerald's a Hall of Fame great person.
Yeah.
But I also think he was a great player for the majority of his prime, which all came in Tampa Bay.
He was a bright spot for us for the longest time.
He was alone. Him and Levante David held it down.
When we won the Super Bowl, he was the one guy I wish could have won with us because I'm like,
I do too.
Because I remember everyone being like, Mike Evans, Levante David. After all they've been through, they finally get the ring. But I'm like,
I do too, but
I
do too, but Ndamukong Suh, I think for that moment was right for that team.
No, I understand. At the time he was kind of going down in age, but it was more for me sentimental reasons. I'm like, man, after
I agree.
all he's done for us, he deserved to be here.
I just think he gets a lot of negativity from Bucs fans that I think is a bit harsh because I just don't understand why you're expecting a defensive tackle.
You can't
to carry a team to he should not get. That's what I'm saying. He should not get flack for the fact that the Bucs did not make the playoffs during his tenure. There's only so much a defensive tackle can do to impact the game, and the quarterbacks that he played with while he was here. We're talking Josh Freeman. We're talking Mike Glennon. We're talking Josh McCown. And then I think he was here for 3 years of the Jameis era.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was always going to dictate it. He played under Greg Schiano. He played under Lovie Smith. He played under Dirk Cutter. There were so many other things you could look at, but Gerald, as the face of the franchise, got the flack. So I think Gerald should get in. He's got the All-Pros. He's got the Pro Bowls, the tenure with the Bucs. I think he should be in. And Levante David, to me, is a shoo-in.
Yeah.
There's no debate there.
That was the one thing for me. I'm like, so many guys who should be in the Ring of Honor are currently playing.
Yeah, I wanted to focus.
In there. Mike Evans should be.
Yeah,
in there.
those will come. I'm trying to focus more on the guys who are realistic kind of candidates right now. I know another guy, and if you're an older Bucs fan, he's been vouched for a lot, is the James Wilder, right?
Yeah.
The original, kind of bruiser running back for the Bucs from the 80s. I could definitely see that argument for him. Thomas Casper chimed in. What about Brad Johnson, Super Bowl
he
quarterback?
He was on my list. He was on my list. He wasn't he was kind of a very, game manager role, but he made a Pro Bowl. He won the Super Bowl, so he has some accolades to make an argument.
Well,
he's lower on the list, but I understand why he would say that.
Well, it's funny because I was going to say Brad didn't have the tenure that I'm necessarily looking for.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
To be in a Ring of Honor.
He didn't play long enough. Weirdly, if you look him up, you see more from him playing for the Vikings.
He started 3 years for the Bucs. Now, and he won a Super Bowl in his second year. Now, this is where it becomes, I don't know what the word is to describe this, but I'm not going to vouch for Brad Johnson to be in the Super Bowl, but I'm 1,000% or the Super Bowl. Jeez,
he was
the Ring of Honor. But I'm obviously going to vouch for Tom Brady
Yep,
to
there he is.
be first ballot
He is on my list.
in the Ring of Honor. I think there's a big difference in Brad and Tom.
because he played elite multiple years.
Tom Brady was the best quarterback in the NFL, I think, in my opinion, for the first 2 years with the Bucs.
He made the Pro Bowl, was an All-Pro.
For my money.
He, won Super Bowl MVP.
Changed everything when he got here. I think it's so self-explanatory. I need statues. I need the Ring of Honor. All those things for Tom Brady.
I don't think he should go in this year because, frankly, and you brought this up when we were talking about it privately, New England's kind of doing something with him right now. And also, I think part of me, and I think most of us feel like this, where we're like, until the first ball gets kicked off next year, we're not 100% convinced he's retired. I'm just kind of like, let's just wait it out a little bit and then bring him in.
He's done.
I think
he's definitely done.
He should be, but
there's no rush to get
yeah,
to
but
bring
even
all
then,
the
it's
festivities
let's
back.
let's give him some time.
We'll get to that at some point.
I think he should go in one day, but I will say.
I mean, look how long we had to wait to get Mike Allstott in the Ring of Honor.
That was unbelievable.
Who was a shoot, and it just we're still waiting for Hardy Nickerson, obviously.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it'll come, but I think
that's what I'm gonna say. Hardy, Gerald, and Simeon, for how much longer they've been on the Bucs, they need to go in.
Yeah,
before
to
Tom.
me, I think those are the three logical guys that are coming up next: Simeon Rice, Hardy Nickerson, and Gerald McCoy. I'd probably go in that order.
Yeah.
To be honest, and then
maybe Allie would go in.
Eh.
Well, actually, you know what?
I can't. I probably can't get there with Allie.
You know what? If I will say this, if Mike Evans retired next season, I think he'd immediately go in just because he's Mr. Buck. He's one of the most successful offensive players, and
he's the best Bucs offensive player of all time.
Yeah.
It's really not close.
He's on the Mount Rushmore for best Bucs of all time, along with. I think he has an argument. I guess not clearly. Guys like Derek Brooks, he's clearly on there.
I think the Mount Rushmore for the Bucs is until something changes, and I think there's only one guy that's a chance to break through on that, and that's Tristan Wirfs. But he's obviously got some ways to go.
He could.
I think it's still Brooks, Leroy Selman, Warren Sapp, and then I throw Rondé in there. I still think that's the four.
Oh, Rondé. Yeah, no.
I still think that's the four.
You're right, Rondé.
I love Mike. He's got the record for most 1,000-yard seasons to open up a career, and he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer because he's got the numbers. But I still think those will be the four for now.
Well, those are all defensive guys, so at the very least, then Mike Evans is on the Mount Rushmore for offensive players, which also
he leads that.
Yeah.
It's
him, Mike Allstott.
I'm going to pass on that. Thomas Casper, Keyshawn Johnson. I know you're probably trolling with that one.
Keyshawn popped my mind, but I'm like, you know what? He was just so
Keyshawn should pop nobody's mind, okay?
I'm like
he came in, got his Super Bowl, and then had a dispute with John Gruden on national TV, and which Jim was out.
I remember watching the the America's Game thing, the documentary the NFL does for every Super Bowl winner. Warren Sapp was literally he wasn't one of us. He never really wanted.
Well, he wasn't. Yeah. He wasn't. He was. He wanted.
What was the title?
He's a mercenary.
What was the title of his book? Get Me the Damn Ball or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's
he was the original diva receiver.
First overall, but also Terrell Owens was in this draft.
Look at Sean. Look at Sean popping in. Sean, who you don't know, but Sean, we host a UCF podcast on Believe Network together called Charge On. He co-hosts sometimes when JP's out.
I listen every now and then.
Of course, he's a Patriots fan. Of course, he's chiming in here. A statue for a quarterback that played 3 seasons. He's a Patriot, Nick. Stop it. Get out of here, Sean. He's a Buck. Okay. Everyone liked him more when he was a Buck.
I'm just gonna bring this
than
up.
he was a Patriot, Sean. Thank you.
When he retired, the first time at least. He had this long paragraph about and everything, and he thanked Tampa Bay and their fans. Who did he not thank? New England.
Oh, now you're shit stirring here.
Yeah.
Well, he's going in. Well, he's fine with New England. All that was.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes that all gets blown out of proportion.
I like pissing off Boston fans.
But Sean loves to chime in here and just claim Tom Brady and Gronk and all that, even though they were infinitely more fun.
Sean, we're both UCF fans. Don't get mad at me.
Sean's upset they didn't get Joe Girardi. He's still upset about that.
Should we really be? I mean, look, it's a big hire, but that's more just headline grabbing. The dude has never coached.
I don't get the connection.
College baseball. He lives in the area. He wanted to get back. they recently just offered his daughter a basketball scholarship.
Yeah, which was a little fishy to me.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, she's a good player. Like, if you look at her stats, she's a good player.
Yeah, she's a top
She was going to play
recruit.
D1, but, like, the timing was weird, and I
It's
understand
that's
that.
what I'm saying. That they offered her 2 weeks ago, and then all of a sudden, Joe Girardi, the UCF baseball head coach, you hear it. It never really made sense to me.
But it's like, yeah, like, it's just the name. Because, like, and even then, like, keep in mind, he was struggling in the MLB. Like, the Phillies fired him for a reason, and then without him, they made a run to the World Series. Like,
yeah, and I think, I'm not
college baseball is way different than that. For people who don't know, UCF baseball recently fired their coach, and right after he fired it, there was this weird rumor that started, and then started to actually gain traction with official sources that former Yankees World Series winning manager and manager of the Phillies last year, Joe Girardi, was interested in maybe taking the UCF head coaching job. He actually met with the athletic director, Terry Mahajer, and then eventually, yesterday, they offered him the job, which he would eventually turn down. But for a while there, it looked like he was actually going to become the manager of UCF baseball. And as a fan, I understand why. That is a potential moneymaker. Maybe he could help recruiting because of what he did with the World Series. But I'm sorry, I just didn't see it. I remember seeing like this joke, like, what was he known for not doing? Not playing the young guys. And how are you going to play? How are you going to not play young guys when you coach college?
He's an old school manager who I think has reached his expiration date in MLB.
Well, yeah, and it wasn't just that, like, with coaching. Like, it's also like when you coach in college, you don't just coach. You got to recruit and all that stuff. And this guy's never done that. So it's just like
Yes, but I'm not going to sit here and say that Joe Girardi wouldn't, if he couldn't figure out a way to be a good recruiter. I mean,
he did say he wanted to hire a guy, but still, it's a
he
very
still
different
brings
thing.
he still would have brought in a pretty good cachet, I think, his just on name value.
Yeah.
You think about boosters and things like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The business behind it,
That's
I
what
think.
I kept saying. It's to grab headlines. It's a moneymaker, but I don't know if it's for, like, results on the field.
Well, I think that job, though, honestly, going into the Big 12, they have a lot of suitors. I know the Maryland head coach, who I think has won Coach of the Year in the Big Ten the last 2 years. He's a candidate.
One of Florida State's assistants. He's a candidate.
Absolutely. So
he's who I think they might end up getting. I don't know why. But
yeah, but it would have been. It was cool. It was cool for about an hour yesterday, where UCF baseball, of all things, was in the headlines. Like all the MLB writers were talking about it at the time.
And now there's like rumors that it's like he might be interested in the Miami job, which I don't even know if like Miami has like offered him anything. But
well, I mean, maybe you never know. I mean,
I do want to be in that scenario though, because like to be fair, like you did mention, like his it feels like his expiration date hit.
As an MLB man.
Right, but still, it's like who else is offering you a job, Joe? Like like why not take it?
I don't know. I mean, he's older. This is my thing that I always question
like, if you
too.
don't,
He's
like,
older now. You said he lives in the area, obviously.
Right.
Is it just a
Yeah, I'll say that. If he said no because he decided he didn't want to coach, fine. But like if he comes out like later and says, "Oh, I still want to coach," then I'll be like, "Okay, so why did you turn the job down?"
I don't know. It felt a little. It felt a little when we talked about USF here a couple months ago when they were looking for a basketball head coach. It feels almost a little Mike Bray-ish to me.
Yeah. That's
where and it sounded like Michael Kelly got the feeling talking to Mike Bray that potentially, I'm speculating here, but this is the only thing I can come up with, that he got the feeling that Mike Bray was just here to come in and quote unquote a retirement home and not take it serious, right?
Yeah.
So you have to always be leery about that with an older coach, and it has a local tie, especially with Joe Girardi there, I guess.
Well, from what I heard with Girardi, his whole goal was he was hoping to do well to maybe get back into the majors, which okay.
I think, I mean, then again, Tony La Russa got hired.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that whole thing was just weird. Like I think it's gonna be the thing that it's like a trivia answer. You're like, who did UCF offer to be their head coach one time? And you're just gonna be like, really? It was Joe Girardi?
Well, didn't happen. Unfortunately for a lot of UCF fans who are upset about it, they turned the page.
Calm down, guys.
But yeah, Joe Girardi. Did not see that coming. That was honestly the most random news.
No, it really was.
Yesterday.
Because I was covering the conference baseball tournament, and I was at the former coach's Greg Lovely's final press conference, and then when he got axed less than 24 hours later, immediately after this rumor started coming up, and I'm like, Joe Girardi, why the heck would he come in? Oh, this could actually happen? Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was a weird few weeks as a UCF baseball fan.
Yep.
But
all right. Let's pay some bills. Let's hit a break here. good discussion there about the Bucks Ring of Honor. If we missed anybody, if there's somebody I'm missing, chime in the comments. Who would you like to see go into the Bucks Ring of Honor? A very prestigious club, obviously. And I got Hardy Nickerson, Simeon Rice, and who's the third one? Gerald McCoy. Gerald McCoy. Those are my three right there that I think should be in next, kind of in that order. So we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll get into last night, the Stanley Cup. The Panthers battle back to win Game 3. And we got a Game 4 coming up in the NBA Finals as well. The Nuggets up 2-1 in that series. We have a Women's College World Series champion, Jan, of course, Oklahoma again, a three-peat. All that and a lot more NFL news and notes as well coming up. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
This is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa. And for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back on a Friday edition of the JP Peterson Show. Wrapping up this week, which has just, it's flown completely by. I keep looking at the date every single day, and I'm just blown away that it is already June 9th. We're halfway through the year. I wish life would slow down just a little bit. I'm sure everybody feels the same way. Hey, by the way, coming up on June 18th is Father's Day. And just a reminder, if you're looking for a nice little gift to give to your father, your grandpa, anybody, obviously the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road is your place. New Rolexes, pre-owned Rolexes, all those great things, big baller watches. Anything that you're looking for a Father's Day gift, the Golden Diamond Source has it for you. 3800 Olmerton Road, online at the goldanddiamondsource.com. And thanks to all of our other sponsors as well: Jeeves Law Group, Barry Modern Medical Center, Italiano Insurance, Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI, and American Mortgages are great sponsors that allow us to continue to keep doing this every single day for y'all. All right, let's get into a little bit of hockey, shall we, from last night. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals, Vegas going in with a 2-0 lead. And, Nick, it was looking like Vegas was going to get out of there with a 3-0 lead. Florida played some uninspiring hockey once again for, 55 minutes?
Yeah.
55 minutes last night?
Around that.
They had 17 shots, okay, with under 5 minutes to go in the third period. Their power play has been dreadful in this entire series, and I saw a lot of Panthers fans were really kind of pointing the finger at Paul Maurice a little bit, which I think is a little unfair because he got you to the Stanley Cup Final in his first year, so how bad can he be?
Yeah.
Obviously. But no, Vegas, to me, their defensive structure, and that's what Casey Hudson had kind of said yesterday when we had her on, is Vegas has 4 complete lines, and then their defensive structure has just been so well done in this series. At Aiden Hill, the hot goaltender, and Florida found a way to finally beat him yesterday. They got the 6-on-5 advantage. Tkachuk puts it home to go to overtime, and then Carter Verhaeghe, the former Tampa Bay Lightning Stanley Cup champion, who's been so good the last couple seasons. He kind of had a disappearing act a little bit here for the Panthers in the Stanley Cup Final, and he gets the game-winning goal in overtime. And here was the call last night on TNT, and you'll hear, Florida Live Arena? Is that what they call it over there in Sunrise?
Yeah, FLA.
Whatever.
Right?
Florida, that's a weird name for an arena. But they erupted last night. Here was the goal.
Bennett, cross ice, shot,
Loud eruption right there from those Panthers fans, which, by the way, they were so much more louder. Even losing the game, they were way louder than the night before over in downtown Miami when the Heat were playing. Wasn't even close, but good for the Panthers. We're Panthers fans on this show. At least, I don't know if you joined in on this yet, but I'm fully converted into a Panthers fan for these next couple weeks. JP's riding the fence a little bit. He's finding it a little bit hard, but obviously he works for the Lightning, so I understand.
Yeah.
But we had Greg Wolf on who kind of told us, all the reasons why we should be a Panthers fan. Yeah. I thought it would help him, but he's still riding the fence a little bit.
Look, all I'll say is congrats to the Panthers on winning their first ever game in the Stanley Cup Finals.
That's huge.
You now have 15 less Stanley Cup Final wins than the Lightning.
There's no need to be rude like that. They're the little brother. Let the little brother succeed a little bit, shall we? I think it's good. See, I say this all the time. If my team is out, right, more often than not, if a Florida team's in, I'm going to root for the Florida team. At the end of the day, I want the state to win. So that's why when we had March Madness going on, now I found it a little hard to root for Miami. I'm not going to lie, okay? Because I'm just not I'm not a big Hurricanes guy whatsoever. But when FAU was in the final, I was all on board. Let's go Owls, baby. Let's go Owls. I was all on it. And I'm all in on I was obviously all in on the Heat getting to the finals. Now, I don't think the Heat are going to win this finals. I think they're overmatched by the Nuggets, and game 3 showed that.
I mean, the next game is really what's going to decide that. Like, if they lose 2 straight games at home, series is done. I'm sorry. It is. Like, if they can win it, okay, then now we have a little interesting, especially considering we come back home.
Yeah, I don't. Even if Tyler Harrow comes back again, like I said yesterday, I think you're lucky. I think 15, 20-minute cameos max out of him probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't believe much in them right now.
I don't even know about that. Like they're just so on and off, and which is really just the whole mantra I have about Jimmy Butler. Like one time, like his best might be better than anyone. Like we'll put on these amazing performances. You're like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest player
It's been
ever.
a little bit since we've gotten one of those great Jimmy Butler performances.
Exactly, but then he'll just like do these like he'll just like not show up, and it's like, but where was that? Where's Jimmy Buckets?
Yeah, and if you take Jimmy Butler out of the equation, you make it really hard on him to score. I think that's where Miami struggles, is because they have a bunch of 3-point shooters, as I mentioned, and I think the margin of error is so slim for them. Whereas the Nuggets, there's no stopping Nikola Jokic. Jamal Murray, when he wants to, can give you what he just did the other night. So I think the Nuggets, I think they end the series in 5. I'm sticking to it. But back to the NHL. The Panthers, I mean, let's see. I mean, this is a team that has found a way to steal games. I mean, there's a reason why they're in here. They're not as talented, probably, as as any of the teams they've beaten, to be honest. They're not as talented as Vegas. They don't have that top-end star power outside of,
Matty Tkachuk.
Out of Matt Tkachuk, who came alive yesterday, right?
Yeah.
He was the best player for Florida, and that's what has to happen. Your best players have to be your best players. So Matt Tkachuk was last night. And by the way, Casey Hudson, she nailed it yesterday. Go back and listen. She nailed her picks yesterday, right? She had Marchessault for an anytime goal. It happened. She mentioned Brandon Montour, right? This is an example of how she watches the game so closely. She mentioned that when Tkachuk has gone quiet, it's been Brandon Montour, who's a defenseman, has had the most shots outside of Tkachuk, which is crazy when you think about it. And what does he do? He scores the opening goal last night.
Yep.
So she nailed it, and Verhaeghe got off the schneid, obviously. So let's see. We have a series now. That place was rocking. Can they stop throwing the rats, though? And you can throw the rats when you get a game-winning goal, but they threw the rats on the ice after Tkachuk tied it up. And then we got to have a 3-minute break to clean the freaking rats off the ice.
And
like, I thought they were going to stall their own momentum right there.
Yeah, like I think most people were complaining because it's dangerous. I don't know, because they're like rubber, right? So it's like, I don't know if it's dangerous. It's just more like, first, like, yeah, you're delaying time, and also like if you do it for like everything, like that's kind of big. You kind of ruin the
Well, to be fair, I don't think
spectacularness of it.
I don't think the rats are necessarily dangerous because they're probably.
I don't know, because
I think it was a lot more dangerous. I went to the Lightning Panthers when they played each other 2 years ago in the first round.
I was thinking about that. Like
we threw the clappers on the ice.
Yeah, we started just throwing every time they handed us something. Which, first of all, I like getting free stuff. Lightning fans, please stop throwing them on the ice because
and the players were even telling everybody, like, can you stop?
I was just being
like those
stop.
Things. That is a safety hazard.
Yeah, that's a safety hazard. Like, but I'm like, at least we do it at the end. We're like.
That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna throw something on the ice, do it at the end, not during the game like that.
Yeah, and it's
because I thought you stunted some of the momentum potentially there. And then, by the way, I have to get into it because it was the big talking point last night, and it almost came back to bite Florida in the ass a little bit. And I don't know how I really feel about this, to be honest. I probably ride the fence a little bit too much on this. How I feel about the officiating in the NHL in big moments, right?
Yeah.
Did you throw away the whistle or should you call it straight up? We got a penalty call yesterday with 11 seconds left in that third period.
Yeah.
First, they called the trip on Barkov, and then I saw the replay, and I'm like, Barkov didn't even touch him.
Yeah.
He hit the skate of, what was it, Gustav Forsling, I believe.
I think it was, yeah.
And so they got the correct call there, but I just don't. I didn't like that call in that moment. 11 seconds left. Now, I know the Lightning got burned by that against Toronto earlier when they missed a blatant. To me, that was different. That was a blatant high stick
he definitely
on Hagel when he was coming in.
I thought I'd forgotten that. That brings
So
back
it's like, I don't
memories.
know. It's like, again, the consistency there is my problem. It seems like it changes from officiating crew to officiating crew. But in that moment, I don't know. Stanley Cup, Game 3, that's such a big moment to make a call like that, and I don't think it was a definitive trip.
Well, I think everyone will agree with on that. Like, we all just want consistency. Like, yes, there's going to be debates. Put away the whistle. No, call everything fairly. At the very least, my thing is, like, just pick something and just stay with that. If you can just do that, I'll be like, I might not always agree with the call, but, like, fine. Like, at least I know that it isn't like a coin flip on whether you're not going to call it or not, but I understand why you feel that way. Like, whenever you just see something like that happen, especially in a huge game like that,
It's a Stanley Cup final.
It's annoying. Like, it's not. I think this is a little worse, but it's it's almost like back during the Super Bowl when that holding call cost Philly. You know?
Right.
It's like, because it's so ticky. It was
Yeah,
such
in in those big moments like that, I tend to just, unless it's blatant, obvious, intentional. I didn't think that was intentional.
Yeah,
I really thought they just kind of collided with skates a little bit. And, of course, Stevenson's going to go down in that moment, obviously. I'm not saying he took a dive or anything, but I'm just saying, of course he was going to fall there, as he should. I mean, it's a good play by him.
He did his job. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think everyone will agree with you on that one. Like, unless it's, like, very obvious. Like, unless, in the Super Bowl case, unless he was, like, physically hugging him and refusing to let him put his arms up, or in that case, unless he literally took his stick and just whacked under him to take the trip, call that, obviously. But in those kind of, like, toss-up moments, it's just like, in the big games, you just kind of want to see him play.
Yeah, I just don't like when games end like that. But credit Florida. They were able to kill off that penalty, the last 11 seconds of it there in the third period, and then in overtime, and they were able to get the Verhaeghe goal pretty quickly. I love Stanley Cup final overtime hockey. It's great.
Yeah.
Sometimes I almost wish it goes on longer because it adds to some of the drama, but good for Florida. They were able to end it, obviously, and we have a series.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Because they won it, I think that, like, call, no one's going to really remember that. If they had, like, lost and they hadn't killed that off, and especially if they hadn't killed that off.
Yeah, and the series, to me, at that point is over.
Hearing about it.
Yeah, the series is over at that point because they would not – I don't think they would be coming back from
Well, the
from
next
3-0
game,
down.
well, the next one is really huge. If Vegas wins, they're most likely taking this whole thing, especially going back to Vegas. If the Panthers can win, I'm calling it coin flip. I don't know who's winning it. Like, but I will say last night, for me especially, he's not there yet, but, like, remember, like, during the conference finals, like, how dominant Bobrovsky was?
Mhm.
Like, he's essentially the reason they got there. It looks like he's starting to get back to that form. Because in games 1 and 2, I'm like...
Well, he got yanked in game 2.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm like, he's run out of gas. They left him out to dry too long. He can't carry him anymore.
Yeah, I think it helps. They have a great home atmosphere there down in Florida. Can't take anything away from them there. So
when the fans show up,
let's see if they can get it. They've never won a game in Vegas though, even in regular season. I know regular season is different.
Really?
They've never won a game in Vegas.
Wow.
So put 2 and 2 together there of why they've struggled. I don't know what it is. Sometimes I don't think there's much to that because I think the regular season is just completely different from the playoffs.
Like, to be fair, like this is Vegas' 7th season. This is their first ever playoff meet up. So, like, how many times have they actually gone over there? Like, it can't be more than 10.
Yeah,
There's no way it's double digits.
Yeah, that's why I kind of I throw that one out a little bit, but
Yeah, like, if it was, like, I don't know, like, at least, like, 10 or more, then I'd be like, okay, that might be a little concerning, but...
Yeah, but we'll see what happens there, and then again, obviously, the NBA Finals, I think we both would agree the Nuggets are probably going to take that one.
Yeah.
And then also last night, I caught the tail end of this because I had my weekly softball game last night, which, by the way, we lost again.
Sorry.
We're 0-4. It just feels like
the win's coming.
Feels
I
like
believe.
feels like we're never going to win.
I believe in you, Nick. You're going to get that win.
Yeah, I don't know.
Be positive, man.
Start not to
Positivity helps.
Listen, we took such a step backward yesterday. We lost 8-2. And in softball, by the way, if you give up 8 runs, I think 99% of the time you're probably going to win that game because they're all high scoring. And we scored 2 runs. And we also had the bases loaded with 1 out, and we got nothing. So we kind of deserve that. So anyway, though, I missed the beginning of this game, and that's the Women's College World Series, which I watched Game 1 yesterday or the day prior in its entirety, where Jordy Ball went 7 shutout innings. She was fantastic. She's got to be the best college pitcher I think I've ever seen. in women's softball. And Oklahoma yesterday, they get down 1-0 to Florida State, and they threw out their second ace. They have like 3 aces.
They're just a good team. There's a reason
Good is underselling
Sorry,
it. It's
elite. They've won 53
it's historical.
straight games.
It's historical what they've done this season. They
Is this one even shocking?
What did they go? 61-1? No, 61-1 I think it was this year. They scored over 500 runs. They have 3 aces.
They're just
a complete juggernaut.
So good.
I was a little bothered at the fact that, and I know people were telling me, no, that's just all of softball. So I'm like, okay, whatever. The celebrating for every little thing. That's softball, I guess. But can't take away from their greatness. They've won 3 in a row. They got to Kat Sandercock yesterday.
They're not hurting anyone.
Late in the game, who is done with FSU. I think she probably wraps it up as probably the greatest FSU pitcher softball history.
Yeah.
It's a shame she wasn't able to go out on top, but still a good fight for Florida State.
They made it to the finals. They had a great year. I think, it stings right now, but eventually I think FSU softball.
No shame in losing. No shame in losing to
you
that
lost
team.
to probably the greatest softball team of all time. And
I think it is.
It makes me very worried knowing that our UCF Knights are going to have to play them next year.
Yeah, and they're listen, they're
and UCF has a good softball team. That's the thing. But compared to Oklahoma, wow.
I don't think there was any team that had anything to offer that Oklahoma team. That was to do this 3 years in a row. It's just in any sport, it's so difficult to do. I think they're only the second team. I think UCLA did this in 88-90 in softball. They won 3 in a row.
UCLA was actually a team I thought could challenge them because they were really good, and then they got knocked out immediately in the tournament.
Yep. So Oklahoma 3 in a row, all-time team. Unfortunately for Florida State, but still a good season.
Yeah, congrats to both teams.
Also wanted to bring this up while we were kind of talking college, bouncing around here a little bit with some of the college stories. Matt Baker wrote an article this morning in the Tampa Bay Times and kind of about the USF Stadium situation, $340 million on-campus stadium. And he put the payout, what it's expected here. USF is expected to contribute $140 million up front, and then $50 million in donations through the USF Foundation, $31 million from the Capital Improvement Trust Fund, and $59 million from the sale of broadband equipment and licenses. And he adds that no public tax dollars or state funds are included in the proposal. And Matt had some great quotes in here. And also add to the financial part of it. The school plans to borrow the remaining $200 million over 20 years, an expected interest rate of 5.5%. That amounts to an annual debt service of about $17.8 million. And very interesting there, only 9 schools in the country have made larger athletic payments on debt, leases, or rentals last year, according to the Knight Commission of Intercollegiate Athletics. So a very kind of unique deal, I guess is what I'll call it here. And he blissed out some of the concerns. One is that USF won't make enough new money to pull this off. And another one, the projections are intentionally rosy, and then USF continues to struggle with attendance. Those are the concerns here. And he has some quotes in here from some pretty notable sports that word always trips me up, man.
It does to me too.
Economist, I guess.
Economist?
Economist, there you go. Sometimes these words just trip me up, man.
It's a long day. You're good.
But here's one, probably the most blunt one right here from the College of Holy Cross economics professor, Victor Matheson. I don't know if I'd call it economic malpractice, but it's pretty close to it, is what they're saying here. So, and then we had the article a couple weeks ago, right, and this was going to be expected. A lot of the academic people at USF are, faculty members especially, are pretty against this stadium. They feel the money can be put towards other practices such as improving the campus, some of the buildings that are outdated, things like that.
Which I get.
I get that. But to me, athletics in the modern era run most of the universities, and particularly football, right? And we know this obviously at UCF, where football is, I don't think you have to question it.
Yeah,
football is king there.
Yeah.
There's a priority around it. That's why we have this whole 4-phase thing that's going on to make the athletics a lot better.
Right.
And I always compare the two schools for right or wrong because UCF is where USF really should have been right now. UCF lapped USF, unfortunately for Bulls fans, and they have to play catch-up now. And with realignment being all over the place, USF right now, I mean, this is a one-win football team. it seems like they're far away from getting into the premier college football kind of landscape at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to win football games. They've got to get more interest and support from the students, obviously.
Yeah.
And from the Tampa region in general. Now, I know it's hard for fans to get involved because you have a one-win football team. I understand that. But
and you have an NFL team.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here in Tampa, and the Bulls have always kind of taken a back seat. But an on-campus stadium, I can't stress enough how important this is to into this equation.
Yeah.
To have it on campus, it makes it a lot easier to recruit. It makes it a lot easier for students to get to the games, obviously. I mean, Raymond James Stadium is like 30 minutes away from USF's
right, 'cause that's the
campus.
other thing. Raymond James Stadium isn't just not on campus. It's like a good bit away.
It's a good hike. And for a
Yeah.
college student, it's probably a hike that, given the product they're putting out there, they're like,
Yeah.
do I really want to go do that?
Right. And it's not just that. Like, imagine what that is for the football team. Like, because I've been to a few games. My last one was the Final War on I-4. Like, what? Like, yes, the field has the USF colors, but like, what do you think it means to these players like walking in, and there's like little USF stuff on there? Like, you still have a pirate ship up there. There's still a bunch of Bucs
It
stuff.
doesn't ever feel like a USF
It doesn't
game.
feel like that. It almost, it just doesn't feel like your place. Like, I will give those the people who run it credit. They have done a lot to try to make it feel like a home atmosphere. Like the touchdown thing, when the lights go out, they start showing the green lighting, which is really cool. Like, but they've done all they can done. It just doesn't feel like a home stadium. And what that does to you as a fan, and especially what that does for a player, I cannot explain it. It sucks. Just having a place that call home, that like literally has, at the very least, just has your branding on it, would just do a lot for, like, I think, just team morale.
Yeah, but again, the financials of this is the whole kind of trick up here, and
Which it is for everything.
There's more in here that the stadium must double the team's overall revenue from football if it pays for itself. And I guess in the last fiscal year, the Bulls brought in $18.7 million in football-related revenue. They need that to double for it to end up paying for itself. Now, how likely is that is kind of the big question.
With how good they are right now, that's where the problem is.
Yeah, so I understand a lot of the concerns. I think USF right now needs to take risk, and I feel like they have declined to take risk, I guess, and be aggressive. And if you're going to be a major player in college football, if you want to be, and we've had this discussion a lot, where USF just has not prioritized athletics in the past. It's all been about the academics, and that's great. I mean, they just recently became an AAU member.
Yeah, which, good for them. And to be fair, I think a lot of people will say that is where it should be, and I am, like, you need to pay a lot of academics because you are a university. But also, like, it took them forever to build that, like, indoor practice facility, which, that's kind of a big deal. So, like, if it took you forever to build that, the fact that it's taking you this long to build a stadium, that's something that's going to hold you back for a long time.
Yeah, I hope they get it done. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said this all the time. I might be a UCF grad, but I'm a Tampa resident and Tampa native first and foremost, and I want USF to take the next step. I really, really do.
Look, especially now, because, like, we're going off to the Big 12. Who knows the last time we played them? But it's also, like, I had fun watching those War on I-4 rivalries. I miss that. And maybe having an on-campus stadium could help them get back to that level someday. So, like, you know what? I'm pulling for you.
Yeah.
Little brother.
I don't know.
Come at me, comments. Come at me.
Yeah, I'll leave that one alone a little bit.
Yeah, ignore that.
I'll leave that one alone. I'm
okay,
not gonna pick. I'm not gonna pick on them.
I'm not gonna pick on them.
I think USF fans have been put through the ringer enough.
You've been put through enough. Honestly, I'm not one of those guys who likes to make fun of USF fans. In all seriousness, I really hope they build this stadium, and I hope they can be up there one day because I'd like to see the War on I-4 football rivalry come back.
Well,
really
unfortunately, the college football has just made it to where it's almost.
To be fair, yeah, it is going to be a while.
It's made it impossible to get these rivalries to stay.
Yeah, when we, have some room, I'd like to see some competitive rivalries.
Yep. So
because it is fun. It's stressful, very stressful.
It's very fun though. It's very fun, but who knows? Maybe FAU and USF will become that new rivalry. And we'll see what happens there. We'll keep updating you on what happens with this USF stadium. I know a lot of people are just like, talk to me when the shovels are in the ground, and I understand. So
I get that too.
We'll see what happens there. We'll take another break. When we come back, we're going to dive a little bit deeper. We don't do much soccer talk typically
football.
On the JP Peterson Show, some football, but I think when you have something of this magnitude come up, it becomes part of a larger conversation. We dove into it a little bit 2 days ago when the preliminary reports were coming through, but now we have the confirmation. Lionel Messi, the greatest player probably of all time. I think that's a general consensus at the moment.
Very least Mount Rushmore.
Is going to be playing 4 hours away from us here in Tampa, down in Fort Lauderdale for Inter Miami, David Beckham's team, the MLS. So we'll dive in a little bit into the financials there, the impact that this has had on the MLS already, and the impact that this could have on American soccer in the future. Stay with us. Back in just a few minutes.
Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Ladies and gentlemen, are you looking to lose weight or just lean up for bathing suit season where there are so many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there? You don't know where to start, right? We'll start at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and will help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently. Many of these other approaches are designed for the masses. So how's that going to work for you specifically? It's not. Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you so the weight comes off safely without the use of harmful drugs and side effects. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work, you save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. A Friday edition of the JP Peterson Show. JP absent today again at the Mike Evans Charity Golf Tournament over there in River Hills, close to where I live. So might go over there and crash that later. See what's popping on over there at the Mike Evans Charity Golf Tournament. JP hoping to get a chance to talk with Mike. You see, he talked to him a little bit earlier, obviously. Mike keeping it kind of tight to the chest there. The quarterback for the Buccaneers will be Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, is what Mike told JP. So standard answer there, obviously, from Mike. Never going to let that one out. But we got plenty of time, as we've been saying. No need to make a choice right now of who the quarterback is going to be. Let's let this process kind of ride out. But let's transition to another football real quick, because as I mentioned there before we went to break, the impact that Lionel Messi is going to have on the MLS and I think soccer as a whole in this country. And I think we've taken steps to try and make soccer a bigger deal, right? We've tried. But I think it can only go so far sometimes.
Yeah.
I really do. And now the World Cup coming here in 2026, this whole Mexico, United States, Canada World Cup is going to be a big deal. And that's why I think the timing of this is really important. This is a chance, we're now, 3 years out from that World Cup? This is a chance to bring around some new interest into this country with soccer. So I think the timing is great right there. I mean, you look at the ticket prices going on right now. Ooh. If you want to see Lionel Messi play soccer in a game, get ready to take out a loan and dive into your savings a little bit. Because, I mean, there are tickets, I'm not kidding you, to go see him play against Atlanta United this season later on. And there's no guarantee, by the way, he plays in some of these games because it's going to take him time to get up to speed a little bit and to arrive, obviously, to the United States and get all this finalized. But there are tickets that are literally going for $10,000 premium seating in it to see him play in Atlanta against Atlanta United. Like, that's Super Bowl type stuff.
Yeah, for a while ago, the cheapest ticket to a Miami game was like $29. And now the cheapest is like $247. Like, it went up that quickly. Like, apparently they had to put a hold on the tickets because they're like, oh, these tickets are going to be more expensive. We got to stop selling them. They're not sold out. They're just like, we're going to wait, see how much we can get out of this, raise it. And the thing is, people will buy them. Because
they will.
Oh, yeah, they're going to buy them.
They will. And it's going to be a crazy atmosphere, I think, at all these stadiums around the country when Inter Miami's coming in. And just the impact, by the way, I think he's probably the most well-known athlete. I don't think there's any probably about it. I think he is the most well-known athlete across the world.
Considering he has the most liked Instagram posts,
and the impact right here, by the way, just from a social media standpoint.
Social media.
Inter Miami is up to 6.8 million followers on Instagram and rising. Okay.
They gained over 5 million followers.
They've gained over 5 million followers and counting since Messi announced that he was coming to Inter Miami. That's a 2-day span. 5 million. That's a huge jump.
They gained 4 million in 24 hours.
They have more followers than any NFL, NHL, MLB, or MLS team on Instagram. That is crazy. Crazy. I mean, the shirt sales that this guy is going to do, and Fanatics, by the way, which sucks. This Team Fanatic. Fanatics sucks always. If you put in an order for his jersey, I'm sure you'll get it, by the time they're playing next season. I'm sure that's what's going to end up happening, obviously.
By the time he retires.
Yeah, by the time he's done playing in the MLS, then you'll get your Messi jersey. Yeah. And what will it be worth then? But no, it's going to have a huge impact. Obviously, he's going to get a share of the revenue from this whole Apple TV, this 2-point-whatever billion type of deal they have with Apple TV. He's going to get a share of the revenue from Adidas from what he brings in. And also the salary, whatever that number is going to be for MLS, Inter Miami is going to pay him. Maybe he's a designated player because MLS has this rule where you can have two.
Designated player rule. Yeah. They haven't said anything about that, have they?
No, but it seems likely that he might be the designated player.
I mean, he should be.
It makes a lot of sense that that'll be his role, and they have 2 other spots, I think, and there's a lot of talk that they're going to bring in some of these other guys that he's played with before. Sergio Busquets, who the audience probably not familiar with, but he played with Messi at Barcelona for over a decade, and he's regarded as he was one of the better defensive midfielders. He's a little older now, but still would be a pretty big coup once again for the MLS, but it's all about Messi.
Yeah.
And I just think that impact that he's going to bring to American soccer, it just, you can't even describe it.
Yeah.
You cannot describe it. This is in all respect to David Beckham, when he came here in 2007, that was a really big deal, and it put MLS on the map. And he's one of the most well-known athletes across the world. Messi, I think, is still in a different ballpark.
Yeah. In terms of, like, the amount he can give on the field, because he can give a lot more. Like, Beckham was kind of near the tail end.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Beckham at the time, like, he had already played in his last World Cup before he came over.
Right.
We're talking about a guy who is coming off winning the World Cup in Qatar. We're talking about a player who just had 20 goals and 20 assists this year, playing in top-flight soccer over there at PSG and in Europe, Champions League, all those kind of things.
We're talking about a guy that, like, good clubs like Barcelona still wanted, and clearly not just for nostalgic reasons.
I would say it right now that if every club on the face of the planet could afford Lionel Messi, they would take him in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, they would do it.
Oh, yeah.
And he chose Inter Miami.
Yeah.
He still chose. He still had years to play in Europe.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
I want to give him credit. Like, the reason, like, I don't know if you saw this, like, the reason he said, because he's like, I wanted to go back to Barcelona, but
Yeah.
the reason he did is he's like, if I did, they'd have to cut so many people, and I didn't want to do that to them.
Yeah, he's selfless.
That's a
very selfless because, again, the whole Barcelona financial situation, it's a mess.
It's a mess.
It is an absolute mess how much debt that club is in. And just to register players and get them eligible to play last year after they signed like 5 or 6 big guys, it was interesting. They went out, they're in like crazy debt. They don't have much money, but they went and spent all this money anyway.
Yeah.
And had to find all these loopholes to get them registered to play in La Liga. And they would have to do the same thing this year again if they were to bring in Messi. And salaries would have to be cut. They'd have to start selling players, just outright cutting players, things like that. And it was going to be a headache. And Messi didn't want to go through that, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's sad, though. The way it ended there, like, he didn't get the proper send-off, I think, from Barcelona that he deserved. And especially the first time around 2 years ago, how it kind of ended really,
Weirdly.
Yeah.
Just like, he's going to PSG? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
But
that's...
I think he's going to return to Barcelona one day. Like, I don't know if in European soccer, if they do, like, you know how, like, what we'll do like, with football teams, we'll do, like, the one-day contract. I don't know if they do that there, but I think at the very least, one day he's going to return and get the recognition. Like, whether it's not as a player or if it's just, like, he's retired and they're just like, hey, you want to come stand on the sideline and get this huge applause, which he will get.
Yeah, he will.
It will happen.
I think he's already getting it right now from Barcelona fans to begin with that are so appreciative of his time there, and he's not even going to play for them at the moment.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think Barcelona fans are mad that he's not going.
No, they're not.
Except for, I mean, some are, because, people are angry about everything nowadays.
Well, you shouldn't be.
But you shouldn't be. Like, he gave a good reason. Like, him not going was the selfish thing, was the selfless thing. If he went there, like, that'd be screwed. And, like, I mean, that's the one thing. Because, like, we've been talking about, like, what he's done for the Inter Miami off the field. What do you think he can do for them on it? Because we've kind of mentioned this. They are one of the worst teams in the MLS right now.
They got a lot of work to do.
I will say, they are currently, like, deep into a U.S. Open Cup run, which is, like, besides the MLS Cup, is probably the one trophy that every team would want to win because it's the oldest one. Actually, I take that back. CONCACAF Nations League. That's the one you would want to win because it's not just MLS, but, like, that's, like, the oldest tournament in the history of U.S. soccer. They have a chance to win it. Messi will, at the very least, could play in the semifinals, if not the finals, if they do make it. So we could have a chance to win a title real early. So there is that. But when it comes to, like, MLS season, I am really interested to see. Because I have seen some people being like, it is a team game, and they are not the greatest team.
They're in the middle of a 5-game losing streak as we speak right now. Pretty far out from a playoff run. So if he gets here at some point in the summer or half a season to go.
Right. I don't know if they'll make a... Yeah, at that point, depending on how it goes, I don't know if they can make the playoffs with how, like, deep they are. But I will be interested, especially next year, like, what can you do for them then?
Well, I want to know, and this goes for Inter Miami, but even the rest of the MLS, now that he's coming over here.
That is true.
The logical question is this going to open up the door for other players? And I'm not saying the type of guys who are 33, 34, they clearly have lost a step or two. Yeah. Maybe they're not playing as much at their big European clubs, so now they're going to come over to MLS. We've seen that over and over and over. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. I'd argue recently it hasn't worked out as much for the MLS as they would have hoped. Inter Miami has gone down that route as well already, bringing in a Gonzalo Higuain, and Matuidi, a World Cup winner with France in 2018, and both didn't really work out that well. So
that whole thing was weird because, like, wasn't it like with him? They were like, oh, he's not a designated player, and then it got leaked that he actually was, which means they had too many designated players, which is against the rules.
Yeah, that's the other thing that comes in the equation here. Inter Miami got dinged pretty hard by the MLS for kind of breaking some of these rules, and they ended up with Lionel Messi out of it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. And also David Beckham, too. I know I mentioned that his impact was great, but it's still, I think, going to pale in comparison to what Messi does. David Beckham's impact, though, not only coming over, but part of that deal was he would be able to buy an expansion club for $25 million.
Yeah.
And he picked Inter Miami as the place to do it, and then he landed Messi. So if you think about it, David Beckham led to him buying Inter Miami, which led to him buying Lionel Messi. So this is still David Beckham's influence, if you think about it.
Yeah, I was going to say that because, like, he came over in a time where, like, soccer still wasn't at, like, we always talk about soccer's not at the level it is in Europe, but it's still, like, when you look at where the level of, like, popularity soccer was, like, years ago, it was nowhere near where it is now. I would argue more people in America know who he is because David Beckham came over and, you know, got some interest in soccer.
Yeah.
I would argue that.
And the other thing, too, with Messi coming over is the South American Cup is in the United States this year.
Yeah.
So this is also a chance that he really wants to win that, obviously. He has not retired from international soccer, and that's the most important thing to him, I think, is representing his country of Argentina.
Yeah.
And he has a chance to win that here on American soil as well. So you're going to get an extended look at him there as well. So it's all around. This is a slam dunk transaction. And that's what I said. I want to see what other players follow. Can they start to get the guys who are maybe 27, 28, 29 instead of the 33, 34, and 35-year-olds?
Well, you've kind of brought this up, and the other, like, it is a big deal for the MLS is, like you said, the players they could maybe would want to follow Messi and come over here. Because remember, I don't know if you remember, like, there was a while, like, it was kind of a rumor, and we never knew if it was going to happen, but there was a lot of talks that one day Ronaldo was going to come over to the MLS.
Yeah, and the Saudis put it into that.
Like, the Saudi were starting to become the thing. They're like, hey, it doesn't matter if you can play or not. If he can make us money, we'll pay him, and they'll pay him a lot. So, like, you were saying that, like, they're starting to take the MLS thing of, like, these are where these players are going now. Messi coming over here might have just saved them. I will also say the fact that Ronaldo went there and Messi chose to go here, I think he might have, like, I know we just had that debate about the whole morals thing, but, like, some people just put morals into sports. So I think the fact that Messi came over here, I think for a lot of people that will, like, put him over Ronaldo.
Well, the Messi-Ronaldo debate is endless in time. It's almost LeBron and Jordan-esque, honestly.
Even though for me, I feel like Messi winning the World Cup should have.
It did. Now I've always been more of a Ronaldo fan because I'm a Man United fan, and I got into soccer when I was a kid, and he was playing for Man United, and the Glazers owned Man United, so there was the connection. So when I was a kid, I just became a fan of both guys, and I followed Ronaldo's career when he went to Madrid, and then Juventus, and obviously when he came back to Manchester United, and that ended horribly. But I think that's the thing. I've always viewed Ronaldo more of he's all about the image.
Yeah,
he's the image. I don't know if narcissist is too harsh of a term to label him, but he kind of has that type of aura to him. Where Messi to me has always been about the soccer and the soccer only, and he's been concerned about that and winning.
Well, yeah, and I think the whole like what we were talking about earlier, the whole like I'm not going to go to Barcelona because it's going to tank this team thing, kind of like pulls into that. He made a decision.
He loves Barcelona so much that he wasn't going to do that to them.
Yeah.
End of story. So he's the most selfless. He's the most selfless top athlete like that. Really, when you think about it, but it's a win. It's a win for everybody here in the United States, and I just cannot wait to see him. I'm hoping. I would love to go see him play against Orlando City later on in the year. But these tickets, if they got to come down a little bit.
I was gonna get tickets to that for a while ago, back when they were cheap and before he had made an announcement. Yep, that's not happening now. I do not have that kind of money, but I'll tell you what, I'm interested to see how the attendance goes because. I'm going to start wondering if, like, if it gets really popular, like people really want to see it, like the demand really goes up. I wonder if they're going to start going to, like, some of these NFL stadiums being like, hey, can we play here just so we can have some extra fans in the stands?
Well, like when he plays against Atlanta United and they play in Mercedes-Benz where the Falcons play.
Yeah, well, that one's easy. Like, they'll just open up the upper deck.
I mean, they'll put 60,000 plus in there.
Yeah, but, like, for some other teams, like, like Orlando, if he goes to Orlando, maybe they'll be like, hey, you know what, why don't we go over to the Citrus Bowl where they used to play?
Oh, please. I don't need to see any more events in there. I don't need to see any more events in the Citrus Bowl, please.
Well, the Jaguars might be coming there, so that might not be happening.
Oh, my goodness. Well, there you go. Friday edition of the JP Show. Thank you, Nick, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Threw you into the fire today. We threw you into the fire today.
I lived.
So
I had fun.
Hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Glad to have you here. Hope you continue to be an asset for the show. We definitely appreciate it. And we appreciate everybody listening. I think we had a really good week of shows.
Yeah.
Really love what we did this week from a content standpoint. So continue to check us out on our official YouTube page at the JP Peterson Show, on Instagram, Twitter, Apple, and Spotify. You can catch us there. And, of course, the FanStream Sports app. You can listen to that during the show. You can listen to it anytime throughout the day on a loop. So continue to check us out, retweet our stuff, like our stuff, and keep spreading the word. Having a fun time bringing you 2 hours every single day of Tampa Bay sports-centric talk and some national perspectives as well. We will see you on Monday. Go Rays, and have a great weekend, everybody.